In EXT Nation X Streets Night, Stephen Hamilton is running for his life. Stephen runs around a corner. Stephen stops running out of breath and begins panting. Stephen, panting/thinking, I think that lost that crazy bitch. Stephen begins to walk forward very slowly. Stephen is pulled into the shadows. Angle on the buildings of Nation X. Stephen voiceover screaming in pain at. Cut to. INT David Household Day. The words 1 week earlier appear on screen. INT David Household Kitchen Day. Leopold is eating breakfast. Nancy Leopold, I forgot to tell you that, when you're done eating you need to move a little faster, because Adrienne has a doctor's appointment. Leopold, okay mom. INT Streets Nancy's car day. Nancy, okay my little darling's Barbara's sick so she isn't going to be able to watch the 2 tonight, but your father and I have already found a substitute babysitter for tonight. Leopold, okay mom. Cut to. EXT John H. Grundy Elementary School Day. Leopold and Echo are talking at recess. Echo, Leopold, have you heard the rumor? Leopold, what rumor? Echo, the one surrounding Sweet Crunch. Leopold, if it's something like Sweet Crunch being made out of people I know, that it's wrong, because I ate it for breakfast this morning. Echo, well good things could be coming your way, because the rumor is that there is a new prize in Sweet Crunch that's amazing. Leopold, what is it? Echo, it's called the Spiral Hypno Ring, and it's not like those fake hypno rings that some kids had last week that didn't work. These are prizes in Sweet Crunch, and they have instructions written inside the wrappers. Leopold, cool. INT David Household Kitchen hours later day. Leopold walks into the kitchen, drags the step stool up to a cabinet. Leopold gets up on the step stool and opens up the cabinet. Leopold pulls the box of Sweet Crunch out of the cabinet and reaches into it and pulls out the prize. Leopold puts the prize in his back pocket and puts the box of Sweet Crunch back into the cabinet. Leopold thinking, come on, I got to do this before mom or dad notice that I did it. Leopold steps stool back. INT David Household Leopold's bedroom day. Leopold walks in. Leopold pulls the prize out of his back pocket. Leopold, come in, please be what I hope you are. Leopold opens the prize and it's a spiral hypno ring. Leopold, yes, time to read the instructions. Leopold reads the instructions that were written on the wrapper. A smile comes across Leopold's face as he gets an idea. INT David Household Living Room Night. Miranda Carlo is standing in the David's living room. Rick, okay, my wife and I should be back around 10:30 p.m. 10:45, if traffic's bad. Miranda, don't worry, I think I can watch them until 10:45. Nancy walks into the living room and kisses Rick on the cheek. Nancy, okay, my husband told you when we should be back, so we're off for our weekly date night. Rick and Nancy walk out of the house. INT David Household Hallway Night. Miranda, okay, time for bed. Leopold, no fair. My mom and dad let me stay up a little bit longer, because I'm older. Adrienne screaming, no fair. If Leopold gets to stay up then I should get to stay up. Miranda, but you're a cute little kid. Adrienne screaming, so is he. Miranda picks Adrienne up. Miranda carries Adrienne into her bedroom. Miranda, yeah, but you're littler and cuter. Adrienne screaming from inside her room, not fair. Leopold runs downstairs. INT David household staircase minutes later night. Miranda is walking downstairs. Leopold voiceover charge up spiral hypno ring. INT David household living room night. Show that all of the lights in the living room have been turned off. Leopold voiceover make sure that the subject is in a darkened area. Miranda from the staircase. Leopold, it's time for bed. Leopold voiceover make sure that there are a ton of bright lights in the subject's face, the brighter the better. Miranda walks in and is hit by a barrage of flashing lights. Miranda screaming eek. Leopold voiceover waves spiral hypno ring in the subject's face and tell the subject that she's getting sleep, and then very quickly tell her that she's rising up into a trance and that the subject is now must do whatever you say. Miranda stumbles back and puts her hands up against the wall, keeping her from falling down. Leopold jumps onto Miranda and waves the spiral hypno ring in Miranda's face. Leopold, Miranda, you are getting sleepy. Angle on Miranda's eyes. Leopold voiceover, you are getting very sleepy. Miranda is struggling to keep her eyes open. Leopold voiceover, you are falling asleep, can't stay awake any longer. Miranda's eyes close. Miranda slumps onto the floor with Leopold on top of her. Leopold, now Miranda, I'm now your master and you are now my slave. Miranda hypnotized, yes master. Leopold, okay Miranda, I want another spiral hypno ring and I command you to bring me one. Miranda hypnotized, yes master. Miranda gets up and walks out of the house. EXT David household front lawn night. Miranda gets into her car and drives off. EXT dollar store parking lot night. Miranda into the parking lot in her car and gets out of it. INT dollar store night. Miranda walks into the dollar store. Miranda hypnotized must get spiral hypno ring. Begin showing things from Miranda's point of view. Miranda's point of view. The entire dollar store looks dark red, with every physical item being illustrated with white outlines, and the box of sweet crunch with the spiral hypno rings in them having the spiral hypno rings glowing dark purple inside the see-through boxes. Miranda walks through the dollar store searching for a box of sweet crunch with a spiral hypno ring inside of it. Miranda eventually finds a box of sweet crunch with a spiral hypno ring inside of it and picks it up. Stop showing things from Miranda's point of view. Miranda walks to the counter. A named clerk up. Are you okay? Are you okay? You've been sleepwalking all over the store since you came in. Miranda hypnotized. I must bring the spiral hypno ring back to my master. A named clerk, okay, one box of sweet crunch, that will be $8.99. Miranda pulls money out of her purse and throws it at the unnamed clerk. Miranda takes the box of sweet crunch with the spiral hypno ring inside of it and walks off. A named clerk walks in front of the counter and picks the dollars up off of the floor. A named clerk, what a psychopath. She tips well. EXT dollar store parking lot night. Leopold voice over to make hypnosis and make the subject your control over her. The subject, permeant break spiral hypno ring in front of the subject. Miranda walks out of the dollar store. Leopold voiceover, heh, heh, heh. Miranda gets into her car and drives off. End. David's household, living room, night. Miranda enters the room. Miranda walks up to Leopold, kneels down and holds the box of sweet crunch up to him. Miranda, hypnotized, I have brought you what you have asked. Leopold takes the box of sweet crunch out of Miranda's hands, opens it up and pulls out the prize. Leopold unwraps the spiral hypno ring. Leopold, alright Miranda, I want you to help me set up the lights that I used on you before I hypnotized you. Miranda, hypnotized, yes master. INT David, household, living room, 2 minutes later night. Leopold and Miranda are standing in the middle of the room. Leopold, now Miranda, my will flows through you and I now command you to invite the strongest girl that you can think of and do your best to hide the fact that you're my hypnotized slave. Miranda, hypnotized, yes master. Miranda walks up to the telephone and dials. Miranda into the phone, hey Debbie, it's Miranda, the kids are asleep, you want to come hang out? Of course, I invited John and Bob. Miranda hangs up. Leopold, Miranda, look at me here. Miranda, hypnotized, yes master. Miranda instantly looks at Leopold. Leopold holds up the first spiral hypno ring. Leopold, when I smash this, I smash your free will along with it, and you will be my hypnotized slave forever. Leopold smashes up the first spiral hypno ring. EXT David, household, front lawn, 10 minutes later night. Debbie Sarandon drives up in her car. INT David, household, living room night. Miranda can actually hear Debbie, though her footsteps. EXT David, household, front lawn night. Debbie opens the door and walks in. Debbie, Miranda, hey, where are you? Miranda jumps down behind Debbie and holds her in a full Nelson. Debbie, Miranda, what the hell are you doing? Miranda lifts Debbie up and drags her further into the room. Debbie walks in and is hit by a barrage of flashing lights. Miranda does her best to force Debbie's head down. Leopold walks with a step stool and jumps onto it. Leopold waves the spiral hypno ring in Debbie's face. Leopold, Debbie, you are getting sleepy. Angle on Debbie's eyes. Leopold voiceover, you are getting very sleepy. Debbie is struggling to keep her eyes open. Leopold voiceover, you are falling asleep, can't stay awake any longer. Debbie's eyes close. Leopold, now Debbie, I'm now your master and you are now my slave. Debbie, hypnotized, yes, master. Leopold, Miranda, I command you to let go of Debbie. Miranda, hypnotized, yes, master. Miranda, lets go of Debbie. Leopold, Miranda, Debbie, the reason that I hypnotized the two of you for life is because I want to eat a person from Nation X, and to do that I need someone to eat that meal, and that's where you two come in. Miranda and Debbie, hypnotized in unison, yes, master. Leopold, and I want that meal in 1 week from now when my mom and dad have their next date night, and I command that both of you do whatever it takes to make that happen, no matter what the cost. Miranda and Debbie, hypnotized in unison, yes, master. Leopold, now one more thing. Leopold, Debbie, I command you to look at me. Debbie, hypnotized, yes, master. Debbie instantly looks at Leopold. Leopold holds up the second spiral hypno ring. Leopold, when I smash the spiral hypno ring that I used, I will smash your free will and you will be my hypnotized slave forever. Leopold smashes up the second spiral hypno ring. Leopold pauses. Leopold, I'm tired, put me to bed, slaves. Miranda and Debbie, hypnotized in unison, yes, master. Miranda picks Leopold up and takes him upstairs. INT David household, Leopold's bedroom night. Miranda walks in. Miranda tucks Leopold into bed. INT David household, living room night. Miranda walks down. Miranda, hypnotized, you have to go. The master's parents will be home soon. Debbie, hypnotized, understood. Miranda walks up to the window and opens it. Debbie runs towards the window and somersaults out of it. EXT David household, front lawn night. Debbie lands on the David family's front lawn and jumps into the roof of the house right of the David's household and runs off into the night. The David household, front lawn night. Rick drives up and pulls into the driveway. Rick and Nancy get out of Rick's car. Rick and Nancy walk up to the door and Rick unlocks the door. INT David household, living room night. Rick and Nancy walk into the room. Nancy to Miranda, well, I hope it went well. Nancy pays Miranda for having babysat Leopold and Adrienne. Miranda, Mrs. David, the little ones were so sweet. Is there any chance that I could babysit them again next week? Nancy, well, as you know, that you were a substitute babysitter and you could babysit them again if the original babysitter couldn't make it next week. Miranda, what's her name? 'Cause you never know what happened. She might get sick again or be away for some random reason. Nancy pauses. Nancy, Barbara Furrer. Her name is Barbara Furrer. Cut to EXT Furrer household, front lawn night. Show Miranda and Debbie standing on the Furrer's front lawn. INT Furrer household, Barbara's bedroom night. Miranda and Debbie break into Barbara's bedroom by entering through the window. Begin showing things from Barbara's point of view. Barbara opens her eyes and sees Miranda looking down at her. Stop showing things from Barbara's point of view. Barbara screaming at Miranda throws a punch with the full intent of crushing Barbara's head, but she was able to roll out of bed as Miranda smashes her bed. Begin showing Barbara's bedroom from a bird's eye view. Barbara rolling backwards. Stop showing Barbara's bedroom from a bird's eye view. Barbara gets up and begins punching Miranda right in the face with Miranda feeling no pain. Debbie is walking up behind Barbara and pulls out barbed wire. Barbara continues to punch Miranda right in the face with Miranda still feeling no pain. Debbie strangles to death Barbara with barbed wire. Joe screaming from another room. Barbara, are you okay, sweetie? INT for our household hallway night. Miranda and Debbie walk out into the hallway. Joe and Edna walk out into the hallway only to see Miranda and Debbie waiting for them. Miranda dives into the air and jump kicks Edna right in the face, both sending her flying back into her bedroom and killing her upon impact. Joe charges directly towards Miranda. Joe screaming, "You little bitch, I'm going to kill you." Joe punches Miranda right in the face, but she doesn't feel a thing. Joe pauses. Debbie walks into Barbara's bedroom. Joe punches Miranda several times, but she doesn't feel a thing. Miranda kicks Joe right in the stomach, sending him flying backwards and onto the floor. Joe slowly gets up off of the floor, while panting. INT for our household living room night. Debbie enters the for our household walks by crashing through a window, while holding a lot of dynamite. Miranda walks up to Joe. Miranda picks up Joe by his shirt and drags him back to the railing. Miranda throws Joe over the railing and onto the downstairs floor, killing him. Show Joe's corpse on the downstairs floor from a bird's eye view. Miranda runs into Joe and Edna's bedroom. INT for our household Joe and Edna's bedroom night. Miranda rummages through Joe and Edna's drawers. Miranda eventually finds Joe's wallet, opens it, removes all the money from it, and tosses the wallet ID and driver's license onto the floor. Miranda looks around and finds Edna's purse. Miranda walks up to it, pulls all of the money out of it, and throws the purse through a west wall. Miranda crams all of the money in her pockets, putting her hands over them to keep the money from falling out. Miranda runs towards a window on the south wall and jumps through it. INT for our household living room night. Debbie lights the dynamite that she put in the for our household. Debbie backflips across the room and dives out the window. EXD for our household front lawn night. Miranda and Debbie walk away from for our household. The for our household explodes. Show the house burning down minutes later. Show firemen putting out the fire. INT David household living room day. Angle on the TV. And appearing on the TV and in other news last night, the home of a local family was burned to the ground. A picture of the Furr family appears on screen. And voiceover appearing on the TV. Joe Furr, his wife Edna, and their daughter Barbara were found having been burnt to death, but police frequencies believe that they might have been murdered a short time before the fire was started. Show Nancy watching TV with a scared look on her face. INT David household kitchen day. Leopold is eating breakfast. Nancy walks in. Nancy Leopold Miranda is going to be babysitting you and Adrienne next week. Leopold pauses. Leopold, why? Nancy, because I just found out that Barbara's family has moved away. Nancy thinking, and because I can't tell you the truth that somebody murdered Barbara and her family last night and burned their house to the ground. Nancy turns around. Angle on Leopold. Show that Leopold has an evil smirk on his face. Cut to INT airport night. Miranda and Debbie walk up to the counter. Miranda, hypnotized, must go to Nation X. Debbie, hypnotized, must go to Nation X. Unnamed clerk number 2, okay. Tickets to Nation X's are over $200, kid. Miranda slams over $300 onto the counter. Unnamed clerk number 2, here's your ticket. Unnamed clerk number 2 hands Miranda her plane ticket. Debbie slams over $300 onto the counter. Unnamed clerk number 2, okay, here's your ticket. The only plane that's going to Nation X is leaving in 10 minutes. Miranda, hypnotized, must go to Nation X. Debbie, hypnotized, must go to Nation X. Unnamed clerk number 2, thinking there's something off about those two girls. Miranda slams get on the plane to Nation X. Show the plane taking off and flying into the air. Cut to INT David household kitchen day. The word now appears on screen. Show Miranda and Debbie serving Leopold's a cannibal meal made out of Stephen Hamilton's flesh.